Look, I absolutely love animation, but let's be honest, it takes forever. I mean, how is it possible to spend weeks on a scene that lasts only 2 seconds? So today I'm doing something completely crazy. I'm going to literally speedrun animation. That's right, as you saw in the title, I'm going to make a full fight scene from scratch in under 100 hours. This won't be easy. I'll have to handle character design, storyboarding, animation, coloring, and even compositing. Basically, I'll be doing the work of 5 people in just 4 days. Oh gosh, what did I just get myself into? But before I dive into the challenge, I want to explain why it even came to mind. So if you guys don't know, I've always wanted to be an animator since I was a kid. While other kids were outside playing soccer, I was stuck inside drawing stickmen doing backflips with giant swords for absolutely no reason. There was no story, no logic, just pure chaos. And I remember watching anime for the first time and thinking, wait, people actually get paid to do this? So it was decided. I wanted to make my own anime. Spoiler alert, I was 9, I didn't know what a keyframe was, my main character had 17 powers and absolutely 0 personality. But I didn't care, I was hooked. Fast forward to now, and I'm still chasing that dream, but with fewer stickmen and slightly more sleep deprivation. It's weird, right? As a kid, you imagine animators living the dream. Then you grow up and you realize it's just you hunched over a screen at 3 AM, questioning your life choices while drawing the same frame for the 47th time! But still, it's worth it, because every time a scene finally comes to life, it's like that 9-year-old version of me is jumping up and down shouting, "Yo, you did that!" And that's exactly why I wanted to do this challenge, to see if I could still capture that magic, that excitement, even under pressure. And also because I don't have the patience to spend 3 months on a stupid 2-second fight scene. Alright, without wasting any more time, let's jump right in. So, the goal is simple. Animate as much as I can in 100 hours and make it look as good as possible within that time limit. I started the timer the moment I woke up, and now it's a race against the clock. The first thing I needed was a reference, because let's be honest, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. So, I did what any confused animator would do. I binge-watched anime for 2 hours straight. Now, before you call that a waste of time, listen, this was research, okay? It actually helped a ton. I got loads of ideas for the movement, the pacing, and even the color palette of the fight scene. My biggest inspiration was Demon Slayer and Sword Art Online Alicization, because of how good these anime look. For my character design, I took a lot of inspiration from my favorite character of Sword Art Online, Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, his golden hair and icy sword look out of this world. Plus, Sword Art Online Alicization is like the perfect reference for swordplay. The elegance, the speed, the impact, it just hits. I wanted to capture that same energy, but with my own twist. And come on, Demon Slayer's visuals? Look at this! Calling it beautiful doesn't even do it justice. Ufotable is in a whole other dimension. They're basically animation wizards, and they've been one of my biggest inspirations for years. So after doing all that research, I jumped straight into the storyboard. Probably the most crucial step in the entire process. If you don't plan things out here, your animation can lose all its momentum and end up looking like a chaotic mess. Since I'm on a tight deadline, I kept the fight simple but impactful. It opens with a wide shot of the environment, a dark, icy cave with water reflecting the cold glow of the crystals. Then it cuts to the 2 swordmen facing each other in complete silence. The Ice Swordman has a serious, almost emotionless stare. The tension builds. Suddenly, boom! The samurai dashes forward, so fast it looks like he's teleporting. The pace ramps up immediately with rapid cuts and snappy animation to sell the intensity. As the samurai approaches, the Ice Swordman summons a blade made entirely of ice. Then comes the short but intense highlight of the scene, a fight choreography. It will be fast and fluid, ending with both characters locked in a power struggle. Swords grinding, eyes locked, pure rage and energy in the air. Oh, and before jumping into the animation, I had to take care of some character designs. To save time, I used 3D models as a base. Then sketched out the clothes and added some simple colors. Just enough to get a clear idea of what I was going to draw. Not too simple, not overly detailed. Just the essentials to move fast. Now it's finally time to start animating! I was so hyped! Like, this is it! Time to bring the scenes to life! But I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I thought I was ready, but as you'll see later in the video, the animation pushed me way harder than I expected. Now, since I was working with a tight deadline, I needed a strategy. And that meant starting with the most complicated scenes first. That's why I kicked things off with the scene where we see the Ice Swordsman's face slowly rising into the frame. I knew this scene was going to be the hardest to animate, and the reason is simple: details. Animating slow movement is way harder than it looks. Every tiny motion has to be precise and smooth, and it takes a level of skill and patience I may not fully have yet. Unlike fast-paced fight scenes where the characters are flying around and you can get away with looser, less detailed drawing, this kind of slow emotional moments demands a lot of control. I mean, every frame matters, and I knew it was going to eat up a lot of time. Alright, here is the first real cut of the animation where we see the Ice Swordman lifting his head, slowly. The goal of this cut is to make the viewer feel the intensity build up. It's like the calm before the storm. I wanted this shot to feel calm, clean and powerful. For the look, I went with a mix of Yu-Gi-Oh's hairstyle and Kirito's cold, emotionless expression. Basically, soft hair, hard stare. That combo felt perfect for setting the tone. That slightly messy, yet elegant flow of the hair. Yeah, I tried to capture that exact vibe, but drawing it was a nightmare. Every strand had to feel natural, but still stylized. Not too detailed to be noisy, but not too simple either. Then you've got the eyelashes, which I wanted to really pop since we're zoomed in on his face. But here's the tricky part. I really wanted clean lines and simplicity, because if I make the drawings too detailed, I'm basically killing my animation. Every extra line means more time, more cleanup, more chances to mess up the emotion. Still, I had to hit that sweet spot. Enough detail to sell the vibe, but not so much that it turns into a complete mess. For the fur, I kept it simple. Just a few quick lines that took me around 2 minutes to draw. And honestly, that's a better choice. If I added too much details, animating it later would have been a total nightmare. At this point of the animation, I'm thinking to myself, the line art looks clean. Honestly, I'm kind of proud of how it's turning out. It feels like the sketch is going pretty smoothly. I'm telling myself, nice, this is going faster than I thought. Then I checked the clock, and I realized it's already been 2 hours. 2 hours for one single cut. Just sketch and line art. No colors, no shading, nothing else. And suddenly, I start panicking a bit. How am I gonna keep this level of quality for the whole animation? If every shot takes this long, I'll be working on this project for years. But I calmed down a little bit. I mean, it's a fight scene after all. When the characters actually start moving and fighting, everything is gonna be simplified. After that, I moved on the shading and the coloring. And to my surprise, it only took about 40 minutes. The Sword Art Online style really helped me there. Simple shadows that keep everything clean and sharp without overcomplicating things. This is exactly why I love this challenge. Learning to animate quickly makes you so much more efficient. Now I don't waste time on unnecessary stuff like adding way too many shadows or drawing every single strand of hair. It honestly feels like I have way more control over my animation process. Drawing faster isn't just about speed, it's about improving your skills and knowing what details really matter. Next up, I tackled the environment, which is super important for setting the vibe. The ice cave was perfect for that mysterious, almost otherworldly feeling I wanted to create. Okay, I gotta admit, I cheated a little bit. Painting a full background takes forever, and I'm not a background artist. So instead, I added some simple rocks and placed them strategically to make it feel like a real cave. Then came the magic. I added tons of blue light everywhere to make the scene beautiful and glowing. I threw in some translucent fog to add depth and mystery, reflections on the water to create that glow, and little particles floating around to bring everything to life. Since the focus is only on the character's face, I added a subtle focus blur around the edges to keep your eyes on the beautiful Ice Swordman. I mean, look at him, he looks angelic. After that, I did some more compositing to really blend the character into the scene. And oh my god, that glow looks out of this world. I love using color dodge mode. It makes the whole animation pop so much more. Like the fact that I was able to take this animation from this to this is insane. After all the struggle, seeing it come to life like this really felt satisfying. Now it was time to work on another cut. And by the way, I started with that cut because it was the hardest to me. So there will be more statics cut in the beginning that I will add at the end. In the next cut, we will see the samurai. And I want to capture that serious, focused look. The kind of determination where you know he's about to do something insane. Towards the end of this cut, the samurai starts moving fast. So I intentionally used rougher, simpler drawings. At that speed, the viewer doesn't notice all the little details anyways. So it's all about the motion and the impact. At this point of the animation though, I start questioning everything. It's been an entire day and I'm only on the second cut. I could feel every muscle in my body just giving up. My eyes were red, my hand was sore, and I sat there thinking, maybe I should go to sleep. But I didn't. I pushed through. I had worked way too hard on this cut to stop now. And finally, I finished that cut. And then I slept. A lot. Maybe a little too much. I woke up, looked at the clock, and oh hell no! I had slept over 13 hours! That's a huge time loss! So I grabbed my coffee and went straight back to work. Luckily, the next cut was way more easy. It was a still frame that comes before the two cuts I had just made. It shows both characters standing in the environment, and that's super important. Because animation is storytelling. You can't just jump straight into a fight. You need to give the viewer context. Seeing both characters in the same frame, in that icy environment, helps build tension and lets the audience know something's about to go down. I'm also planning to add even more shots of the backgrounds in the beginning to build mystery, to really pull the viewer into this world before the fight goes crazy. Now it was finally time to make the fight scene, and I wanted to create 3 well animated cuts. I started with the shot where the samurai rushes forward. This time I decided to animate the ground with speed lines, all on once, which is why the movement looks super smooth. And if you pay attention, you'll notice the samurai has fewer details when he's farther away. Same reason as before. If the viewer doesn't notice it, it basically doesn't exist. To sell the sense of speed, I made sure to animate the hair and the clothes whipping in the wind. Plus, I shifted the perspective of the ground and characters, giving the scene an immersive feeling. Like the camera is rotating around the samurai before zooming in on the ice swordman. I made sure to keep that icy and phased expression intact. After all this work, I colored everything and added some beautiful blue compositing. When the ice swordman appears, I turn some orange glow to signal that big danger is coming. Honestly, I'm super proud of that scene. But by this point, I'd already spent 60 hours on the challenge. 60 hours for about 5 seconds of animation. Straight up diabolical. Next cut, finally, the actual fight scene. Now, since I didn't have a ton of time left, I knew it couldn't be super long. But it had to look polished. I mean, quality is important, even though I only have 100 hours. Since animating the water looked so fluid and organic in the previous shots, I brought it back again, because if it works, why not reuse it? The way I approached the fight was by creating solid key poses, then playing with the timing, switching between fast and slow movements. So right before and during the attack, everything moves quickly, but right after the impact, it slows down. That contrast makes the animation feel way more dynamic and impactful. Adding waves made everything feel more alive. The characters weren't just fighting in the environment, they were interacting with it. You can feel the weight, the splashes, the chaos. And once I hit the compositing stage, I threw in a bunch of particles that completely elevated the fight. Like it went from a cool little fight scene to one of the coolest animation I've made. And now the next cut, the final planned one. This one was simple, the classic sword clash. All I did was draw some fast smeary frames to sell the impact, then slow things down with a bit of slow motion right after, animated on trees for that subtle weighty feel. To boost the mood, I added darker compositing to give it contrast and threw in particles with a glowing orange light, making the moment feel intense, dramatic, like something big was about to go down. Then I looked at the time. 5 hours left. I froze, looked at my animation. I honestly thought about giving up. My brain was fried, my tablet was judging me, and I still had to animate extra cuts, add sound, and put the whole thing together. I didn't even know if I could finish this cut, let alone the rest. But then I grabbed my coffee, took a deep breath, and locked in. I worked non-stop for those final 5 hours. No breaks, no distraction, just pure panic-fueled focus. And somehow, I didn't just finish that cut, I finished everything. Turns out I already had some sound effect on hand, and that saved me big time. After all the pain, stress, and sleep deprivation, it was finally done. This is the final product.